Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Ether Tale Radio Theater. And good evening yet again. We're the not ready for airtime players, and that's why the first few words I said didn't come off across the air. I'm Scott Paulson, your host here, and I'm so delighted to have with me tonight Peter Flynn, Melanie Peters,
hello,
Karen Fisher,
good evening,
Frederic Broccard,
hello,
and Gabriel Pan.
Hey there.
And that was our sound check, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe we are ready for airtime for this time. Perhaps so. Well, you know, this last week of October is being called Franken Week by many because it's the bicentennial of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, that fantastic novel which is considered by some to be the first published piece of science fiction. And can you believe she wrote that story when she was a teenager, when she was 18 years old? She was at this wonderful villa on Lake Geneva with a boyfriend, poet Percy Shelley. She wasn't married to him yet. And
scandalous.
It was a bad summer. We considered the year without a summer. There was a volcano that erupted in 1815, and still in 1816 there were weather changes from it. The sun just couldn't peek through all that volcanic dust, and she was just stuck on a house holiday with her boyfriend and some amazing other writers, and they challenged each other to write some ghost stories because they were just housebound. And the host was Lord Byron, so you know that was a good time. And they did what they could to salvage their summer with ghost stories. And that's how Frankenstein came to be. Now, several years later, in 1823, there was a playwright who wrote a play based on Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, and she went to the play. She didn't necessarily like it, but she had a great time, and it was so much fun for her to be a celebrity in the audience and be fawned over in the nicest way, fawned over. And she loved the actor who played Frankenstein so very much. And that's the play that we're doing tonight here on Ether Tale Radio Theater. I'm very excited about it. The play is titled Presumption, or The Fate of Frankenstein. And it was written in 3 acts by Richard Brinsley Peake, and again, based on Mary Shelley's novel. That's the play we're doing tonight. A condensed version of it. It's a 50% reduction, like a fine balsamic reduction. and we're very excited to do it for you. So let's just test a couple sounds. Is this too loud for anyone? That's the loudest it's going to be. But we'll start We'll start not with a pipe organ, but we'll start with chapel organ. That'll be much better. And we'll build to pipe organ later. And what else have we got in the house? Well, anytime there's an important scene change that we weren't able to deal with, bell wash. And brought a harp with me. Does this sound on the radio? Is Wade? Is that coming through? Excellent. Good to know. And then I also brought my little auto harp, so for some spooky moments. Hopefully that comes through a bit. Good. So this play will be about 30 minutes. And yes, Liam Flynn has also brought a couple stories that I plan to read for you this evening. We will have time. Well, let's get ourselves all prepared and get our headphones on. Take one last sip of water. It's too late to go to the bathroom, everyone. Too late, I say. And we'll begin. Presumption, or the Fate of Frankenstein.
Act 1, a laboratory in the house of Frankenstein. Enter Fritz, Dr. Frankenstein's assistant.
Oh, dear me. What's the matter? Oh, how I shake at each clatter. Every knock is a shock. I declare I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous. Oh, what's that? Oh, how my heart beats. Oh.
Fritz, open the door, Fritz.
Oh, yes. It's only Monsieur Clerval, Master's friend, who is going to marry Miss Elizabeth, Master's sister.
Enter Clerval.
How do you do, sir?
Good morrow, Fritz. Is Dr. Frankenstein to be seen?
I fear not, sir. He had been fumigating all night at his chemistry here in the laboratory, but since has wandered off, exhausted.
Dr. Frankenstein pursues his study with too much ardor.
To be sure, Dr. Frankenstein is a kind man, and I should respect him. But I thinks as how he holds converse with somebody below, with a long tail, horns, and hooves, who shall be nameless.
Calm down. Your master is a studious chemist, though I sometimes suspect also an alchemist.
Well, I am not a scientific, but I did see notations here in the laboratory that make mention of his alchemical elixir, which can prolong life to immortality. It can also create or reanimate, but here comes Frankenstein now.
Enter Frankenstein.
My dear friend.
Clerval!
Frankenstein, how ill you appear, so frail and pale. You look as if your night watchings had been long and uninterrupted.
I have indeed lately been so deeply engaged in one occupation that I have not allowed myself sufficient rest. I am engaged, heart and soul, in the pursuit of a discovery, a grand, unheard of wonder. None but those who have experience can conceive the enticement of science. He who looks into the book of nature finds an inexhaustible source of novelty, of wonder and delight. What hidden treasures are contained in her mighty volume? What strange, undreamed of mysteries?
But some little respite. Your health should be considered.
This discovery will be so vast, so overwhelming, that all the steps by which I have been progressively led will be obliterated, and I alone shall behold the astonishing result.
Frankenstein!
I see by your eagerness that you expect to be informed of the secret with which I am acquainted. This cannot be.
I do not wish to pry into your secrets, Frankenstein. I am no natural philosopher. My imagination is too vivid for the details of science. If I contemplate, let it be the charms of your fair sister, Elizabeth. My message hither now. I wish to fix the day for our nuptials, but we must be certain on so important and happy an event that we shall enjoy the society of our dear Frankenstein.
Oh, pardon me, Clerval. My first thoughts should recur to those dear friends whom I most love and who are most deserving of my love. Name the day.
Farewell, Frankenstein. He heeds me not, it's in vain to claim his notice, but I will seek the cause, and if possible, effect his cure. No time must be lost. Fritz must assist me, and this way he went.
Exit Clerval.
Every moment lost fevers me. What time have I devoted? Had I not been heated by an almost supernatural enthusiasm, my application to this study would have been irksome, disgusting, and almost intolerable. To examine the causes of life, I have had recourse to death. I have seen how the fine form of man has been wasted and degraded, have beheld the corruption of death succeeded to the blooming cheek of life. I have seen how the worm inherits the wonders of the eye and the brain. I paused, analyzing all the minutiae of causation as exemplified in the change of life from death, until from the midst of this darkness the sudden light broke in upon me, a light so brilliant and dazzling some miracle must have produced the flash. The vital principle, the cause of life. Like Prometheus of old, have I daringly attempted the formation, the animation of a being. To my task. Away with reflection. To my task. To my task.
Exit Dr. Frankenstein toward the laboratory. Enter Clerval and Fritz.
Now he's going to blow up his fire again.
And thus, you say, for whole days and nights together, without repose, and almost without food, he has immured himself in his study?
Yes, there he is amongst otomies and phials and vials and crucibles and retorts and charcoal and fire and the devil, for I'm sure he's at the bottom of it, and I makes me so nervous.
Fritz, you love your master and are, as I know, a discreet servant. But his friends and relations are all unhappy on his account. His health is rapidly sinking under the fatigue of his present labors. Will you not assist to call him back to life and to his family?
I'd call out all day long if that would do any good.
I know his mind has been devoted to abstruse and occult sciences, that his brain has been bewildered with the wild fancies of Cornelius Agrippa, Paracelsus, and Albertus Magnus.
Oh, Monsieur Clerval, how can you mention such crazy, tooth-breaking names? There sounds something wicked in them.
Wicked? Pshaw, man. They are the renowned names of the earliest experimental philosophers, the sages who promised to the hopes of the laborious alchemist the transmutation of metals and the elixir of life.
Oh, indeed, lackadaisy me.
Do you understand me?
Not particularly.
Fritz, though simple, you're an excellent fellow. Have you any, what is the strange object of which your master is in search?
I have my suspicions, truly.
And what are they?
Hush. What? Oh, no, nothing but the wind. To tell you the truth, I suspect that the grand object is...
What?
It lies up there in the laboratory. A huge automaton in human form.
Frankenstein takes up lamp, cautiously looks around him, ascends the stairs, crosses the gallery above, and speaks from the door of the laboratory.
It lives! It lives!
Frankenstein rushes from the laboratory without lamp, fastens the door in apparent dread, and hastens down the stairs, watching the entrance of the laboratory.
It lives. It lives. I saw the dull yellow eye of the creature open. It breathed hard, and a convulsive motion agitated its limbs. What a wretch I have formed. His legs are in proportionate. I had selected his features as beautiful. Beautiful! A horror. His cadaverous skin scarcely covers the work of muscles and arteries beneath. His hair lustrous, black and flowing. His teeth of pearly whiteness. But these are luxuriances only from the more horrible contrasts with the deformities of the demon. What have I accomplished? The beauty of my dream has vanished. The breathless horror and disgust fill my heart.
Frankenstein sinks on a chair. The demon discovered at the entrance door and smoke which evaporates. The red flame continues visible. The demon advances forward, breaks through the balustrade of the gallery, immediately facing the door of the laboratory, jumps on the table beneath, and from thence leaps on the stage, stands in attitude before Frankenstein, who had started up in terror. They gaze for a moment at each other.
The demon corpse to which I have given life.
The demon looks at Frankenstein most intently, approaches him with gestures of conciliation. Frankenstein retreats, the demon pursuing him. Its unearthly ugliness renders it too horrible for human eyes.
Fiend, do not dare approach me. Avaunt, or dread the fierce vengeance of my arm wreaked upon your miserable head.
Frankenstein takes the sword from the nail, points with it at the demon, who snatches the sword, snaps it in two, and throws it on stage. The demon then seizes Frankenstein, loud thunder heard, throws him violently on the floor, ascends the staircase, opens the large window, and disappears through the casement. Frankenstein remains motionless on the ground. Thunder and lightning until the drop falls. An apartment in the house of Elizabeth at Belle Reve. Table and chairs. Dr. Frankenstein enters hastily to center of stage.
At length, in my sister's house, and safe. I have paced with quick steps, but at every turn feared to meet the wretch. My heart palpitates with the sickness of fear. What have I cast on the world? A creature powerful in form, of supernatural and gigantic strength, but with the mind of an infant. Oh, that I could recall my impious labor, or suddenly extinguish the spark which I have so presumptuously bestowed. Yet that were murder. Murder in its worst and most horrid form, for he is mine, my own formation. Who approaches?
Enter Elizabeth. They embrace.
My dear brother.
Oh, Elizabeth.
You've come to stay, I hope, until the wedding is over. My beloved Clerval will be here presently. Alas, Frankenstein, your cheek is pallid. Your eye has lost its wonted luster. Oh, Victor, what are the secrets that prey upon your mind and form? The pernicious air of your laboratory will be fatal to you.
Fatal indeed.
I pray you, for my sake, cease. I understand upon one subject you have labored incessantly.
One subject? Am I discovered?
You change color, my dear brother. I will not mention it. There is a wildness in your eyes for which I cannot account.
See, he is there!
Dearest Frankenstein, what is the cause of this?
Do not ask me. I thought I saw the dreaded spectre glide into the room.
Calm your mind, Victor.
Oh, pardon me, Elizabeth. I know not what you will think of me.
I have intelligence of one dear to you, and for whom, prior to your close attention to study, you had the tenderest regard. Say, Victor, will you not be glad to hear that I have a clue to lead you to your lost love, Agatha DeLacey?
Agatha? Dearest Agatha? Her name recalls my sinking spirits. Where is she to be found? Oh, would that I had never been robbed of her. 'Twas her loss that drove me deep into the fatal experiments.
The family are but a short distance from hence, the valley of the lake.
And Agatha there? Agatha, there is yet life and hope for me. Ah, no, the dreadful monster I have formed. No, away with thought. Elizabeth, I will instantly seek her. Agatha's smiles shall move this heavy pressure. To the valley of the lake. Farewell, sister, farewell.
Embraces Elizabeth and exit hastily.
What can thus agitate him? He will not hint the mysterious calamity to his affectionate sister, but he flies now to seek her who possessed his first love, and Agatha will soothe his mind to its former peaceful state. Ah, love, all-potent love, if care or misfortune prey on my heart, I have only to think of Clerval and be happy.
Exterior of the cottage of old DeLacey. On right, a hovel with a low door, near which are 2 or 3 large logs of wood and a hatchet, a small basket with violets on a stool at the right side of the cottage door, and a stool also on the left side of the cottage, whereon DeLacey is discovered, seated, leaning on his cane, a common harp at his side.
Another day is added to the life of banished DeLacey. Oh, but how will it be passed, like the preceding days, in wretched poverty, hopeless grief, and miserable darkness? Agatha! Agatha! Oh, alas, I'm alone. Hark! No, I thought I heard footsteps. Oh, my child comes. She must not see me cheerless. My harp is here. 'Tis a fair deceit on her. This harp which has so oft damped the tears from my sightless eyes. The sound of it is the only indication I can give that I am content with my lot.
DeLacey returns to his seat and plays several chords. The demon enters, attracted by the harp, suddenly perceives DeLacey and approaches toward him, expresses surprise by the action that DeLacey does not avoid him, discovers his loss of sight, which the demon appears to understand by placing his hand over his own eyes and feeling his way. At the conclusion of the music on the harp, occasioned as it were by the demon having placed his hand on the instrument, a short pause, and during which the demon, having lost the sound, appears to be looking for it, when the harp music is again resumed. In the midst of the music, a voice is heard. "Father, it is I, Agatha." The demon, alarmed, observes the little door of the hovel, which he pushes open, signifying that he wishes for shelter, and retreats into this hovel. By the ending of the harp music by DeLacey, when enters Agatha. Oh, observe my father's countenance, beaming with benevolence and love. Behold those silver hairs, and I, Agatha, I have reduced him to this pitiable state of poverty. I have returned, dear father. Have you needed me?
Oh, no, Agatha. You anticipate all my wants and perform every little office of affection with gentleness.
Is it not my duty? And am I not rewarded by your kind smiles?
Oh, amiable girl, let thy poor father kiss thee.
They embrace.
Now I'm cheerful. I am happy. Indeed I am, my child. Let me encourage you to cast off your gloom. What? A tear, Agatha?
Nay, dear sir.
'Tis on my hand.
Pressing her hand to his lips, which he had held in his. The demon appears, watching them with attention and interest. Our firewood is nearly exhausted. My time has been lately so occupied, I have omitted my task in the forest. And I have been neglectful of other items as well. These flowers of which you were so fond, my dear father, have withered. They must be replaced. She takes them from the basket. Demon appears at the little hovel, watching them, and then retires within again.
Bless you, my child.
The demon re-enters cautiously and trembling with a handful of flowers, which he gently places in the basket.
Oh, thanks, dear Agatha, ever watchful of your poor father's comfort.
DeLacey turns up the stage and again seats himself on the cottage stool. The demon examines a log of wood, takes up the hatchet, points to the wood, intimating he understands the use of it. Agatha appearing at the window, the demon rushes off with the hatchet.
Agatha!
Did you call, Father? I heard you call me. Ah, Father, someone has punished my negligence by replenishing your basket of violets.
But did you not fill it, Agatha? Was it you?
No, dear sir. Agatha exits the cottage. DeLacey rises and takes up the basket of flowers from the stool, smelling the violets.
How delightful is the perfume. More exquisite because I am debarred the pleasure of beholding these sweet emblems of spring. The touch and scent elevate my spirits. How ungrateful am I to complain in the contemplation of thee, O nature. The past will be blotted from my memory. The present is tranquil, and the future gilded by bright rays of hope and anticipated joy.
DeLacey replaces the basket of flowers and returns to his seat, leaning pensively on his cane. The demon enters with a pile of green wood with foliage on his shoulders and throws them loosely on the stage. Smiles with gratulation at that which he has accomplished. Approaches DeLacey, falls flat at his feet, then kneels to him and is about to press his hand. DeLacey feels around him with his cane and hand without the knowledge of anyone being near him, and seated all the time, then calls,
Agatha! Agatha!
The demon instantly retreats into the hovel, and Agatha enters from the cottage door.
Agatha, child, I pray you, lead me.
Yes, Father. Good heavens. Why, who could have returned from the forest so quickly to help us? What a quantity of wood.
What?
Somehow, here is fuel to last us for a long time.
No.
How could we have been so bountifully supplied? The scene now changes to a forest path where Dr. Frankenstein is on a journey.
In vain do I seek a respite from these dreadful thoughts. Wherever I turn my eyes, I expect to behold a supernatural being, to see him spring from each woody recess. But on to Agatha and repose. Good stranger, kind gypsy, can you direct me to the habitation of old DeLacey?
Better than most persons, I trust. Come, we but only have to cross through wood. Oh, there, good gentlemen. Have you seen it? As I live, I saw it an hour ago in the forest.
What do you mean by it?
My hair stood on end like mustard and cress, and so will yours when you see it.
I'll get you gone. You are tipsy.
I'll put you on your guard. The very devil is abroad. I see it. I see it with this one eye.
One eye?
Yes, I am blind of the other. A little boy threw a pebble at it, and I've been stone blind ever since. Get it? Well, anyway, he was 10'6" long, not the boy, the it. He was that tall, with a head of black, lanky locks, down to his very elbows.
'Tis the demon.
I lifted up hammer to strike it, but I was so tremulous that I knocked my own head instead.
What did this strange object?
Well, it didn't speak to me, nor I to it. I saw it at first in forest picking acorns and berries. And then after it dispersed our tribe like a ferret among the rats, it took a drink at our broth and burnt its fingers in our fire.
And what became of this creature?
I wasn't curious enough to inquire. My wife was in fits at the sight of the devil, so I was obliged to keep my one eye upon her.
Your one eye has been pretty well employed. Come, Gypsy. We'll cross the wood and see if this man mountain is to be met.
So, follow me.
So, the peasants have already been terrified by the ungainly form. Ambitious experimentalist? The consciousness of the crime I have committed eternally haunts me. I have indeed drawn a horrible curse upon my head. I must now to the cottage of Agatha, fairest Agatha. Instead of smiles, your lover will meet you with dark and hopeless despondency.
Exit Frankenstein. Evening. The interior of the cottage of DeLacey. The thatched roof in sight. A wood fire. Through an open rustic porch are visible a rivulet and small wooden bridge. A wooden couch DeLacey discovered seated thereon with Agatha next to him in attendance. The demon appears through the portico, watching them, and regards Agatha with rapture. Agatha kisses her father's hand, takes a small pail or hand bucket, and trips through the portico onto the bridge to procure water. The demon, having retreated on Agatha's approach, pursues her on the bridge. Agatha, turning, suddenly perceives the demon, screams loudly and swoons, falling into the rivulet.
Oh, good gracious heaven, that cry of horror. Agatha!
The demon leaps from the bridge and rescues her.
Good gracious heaven, that cry of horror. Agatha, my sweet child, where art thou? Agatha!
The demon places Agatha, insensible, on a bench near DeLacey.
The silence, the suspense is dreadful.
The demon tenderly guides the hand of DeLacey and places it on Agatha.
My child, cold and insensible. This mystery, cruel fate, dead? No, her heart still beats. Oh, heaven has spared us all, has saved me from that pang. My dear daughter, for your poor father's sake, revive!
Agatha recovers. The demon hangs over them with fondness. Frankenstein suddenly enters.
Misery! The demon! Horrid monster! What have you done to my Agatha?
The demon retreats. Frankenstein discharges his gun and wounds the demon, who writhes under the wound. In desperation, pulls a burning branch from the fire, rushes at them, beholds Frankenstein, in agony of feeling, dashes through the portico. The demon is seen climbing the outside of the portico. He bursts through the thatch with burning brand. The fiend of sin with ghastly grin, behold the cottage firing. The demon hangs to the rafters, setting light to the thatch with malignant joy. As parts of the building fall, groups of gypsies appear on the bridge and through the burning apertures, who join in the chorus. Beware, beware the hideous glare, the fiend of sin with ghastly grin. Behold the cottage firing. Frankenstein rushes out with Agatha. The Garden of Elizabeth at Belle Rive. Morning. Enter Clerval from terrace entrance.
What a delightful morning! It is an auspicious commencement of the day which is to make me happy in the possession of my love. Elizabeth yet sleeps, peaceful be her slumbers. Soft she approaches.
Enter Elizabeth from the house.
Elizabeth, my love, why that look of anxiety?
Oh, Clerval, we have had strange occurrences since you quitted me yesternight. Our house is full of guests. My brother has brought here the family of DeLacey, of whom you have heard me speak so often.
Oh, the family of DeLacey, the relatives of Agatha.
By some extraordinary mystery, which is yet unexplained to me, the cottage in which Frankenstein discovered his mistress and her family was destroyed by fire. They arrived late last night, and all appear overcome with fatigue and terror. Some dreadful calamity hangs about my dear brother.
How astonishing is his conduct! Alas, my sweet Elizabeth, in the midst of all this misery, I am selfish. I trust these singular occurrences will not postpone our marriage. Consider our friends are invited. The church is prepared.
Oh, a few hours may explain all. See now, Frankenstein approaches. Observe his agitated countenance and restless step. He has not slept since his return. He has armed himself with pistols and appears continually watching.
We will retire and avoid him for the present. This way, love.
Enter Frankenstein from the house.
How am I to avoid the powerful vengeance of the monster formed by my own cursed ambition? I gave him energy and strength to crush my own guilty head. My hours pass in dread, and soon the bolt may fall which will deprive me of existence. Yet the demon preserved the life of Agatha. He had some feeling of affection. And how were those feelings requited? By detestation, scorn, and wounds. His look of everlasting malice. He will watch with the wiliness of a serpent, that he may sting with its venom. There is no hope but in the destruction of the demon.
Takes out his pistol.
I must not cease to guard and protect my friends.
Going to the door.
Agatha has arisen.
Conceals pistol. Enter Agatha, a locket round her neck, from the house. Frankenstein, I behold you unhappy, fleeing to solitude, and I cannot help supposing that you might regret the renewal of our connection. Dear Frankenstein, I still love you, and confess that in my airy dreams of futurity, you have been my constant friend and companion.
Agatha, you shall be mine. I will then divulge to you the secret which disturbs, nay, distracts me.
Distant church bells.
Those cheerful chimes announce the wedding day of Elizabeth and Clerval. Let us exit, as my careworn looks will but damp their merriment.
Exit Frankenstein and Agatha. That evening, Frankenstein's fears grow.
One sudden and desolating change has taken place. The fangs of remorse tear my bosom and will not forego their hold. Pursue the demon. One might as well attempt to overtake the winds or confine the mountain torrent. There is scope for fear, so long as anything I love remains.
Goes to door.
Agatha. There she reclines, sleeping on yon sofa.
The demon creeps in at the window, crouching beneath the table, unseen.
Sleep on, sweet innocence. I dare not leave you. I will stay and guard your slumber, or the remorseless demon will snatch your breath away.
Frankenstein takes out a pistol and primes it, lays it on the table.
The wretch even now may be haunting the room. Let me search round.
He searches, but the demon eludes him. Frankenstein goes to the curtain which covers the glass.
This drapery which covers the glass may conceal the monster.
Frankenstein feels the drapery fearfully with the point of the sword. While Frankenstein is thus employed, demon creeps along the floor into Agatha's room. Frankenstein draws the curtain. Agatha's door is reflected in the glass.
Oh, Agatha, would that I had banished myself from my native country and wandered a friendless outcast over the earth, rather than I had again met you, Perhaps to bring you in the grasp of my fiendish adversary. Perhaps to... My blood curdles! That shriek! Ah, what do I behold?
In the large glass, Agatha appears on her knees with a veil over her head. The demon with his hand on her throat. She falls. The demon disappears after tearing a locket from Agatha's neck.
My last hope!
Rushes into room. The figure of Frankenstein appears in the glass, kneeling over the body of Agatha. The demon crosses by the window in a boat with great swiftness, exulting. An antechamber in Bellerive. Enter Elizabeth hastily.
Oh, wretched day! My dear brother, Dr. Frankenstein, is stark mad. He ran but out this instant, jumped into his boat, and rowed off rapidly.
Enter Fritz, alarmed.
Oh my, I've seen it again. The great monster, he got out of one of our windows and scudded off in a boat. And there's Mr. Frankenstein. Oh, there he is. He got another boat and is going after the great creature like lightning.
Where? Where are our friends?
What? Well, Mr. Clerval has followed Dr. Frankenstein. Oh, Madam Agatha, the gentle Agatha, I fear, is no more.
Oh, gracious heaven! What horrible destiny hangs over us.
Stretched out on the ground, she lies.
Hasten to the room.
Wild border of the lake. At the extremity of the stage, a lofty, overhanging mountain of snow. All the gypsies discovered in various groups. A pistol shot is heard. The gypsies start up alarmed. A second pistol is fired nearer. The demon rushes on with the locket worn by Agatha during the piece. The gypsies scream out and fly in all directions. Hammerpan is on the point of escaping when the demon seizes him, and Hammerpan falls down on being dragged back. The demon points off to intimate that Frankenstein is approaching, throws down the locket, commands the gypsy Hammerpan to show it to Frankenstein. The demon threatens him, and rushing up the mountain, climbs and disappears. Enter Frankenstein with 2 loaded pistols and a musket unloaded. At the same time, Hammerpan rises and gets near first swing.
In vain do I pursue the wretch. In vain have I fired upon him.
Throws his gun from him.
He eludes the bullet. Say, fellow, have you seen aught pass here?
The giant creature who roused us in forest rushed upon me but this instant, and pointing to the path by which you came, intimated that I should give you this.
Presents locket to Frankenstein.
'Tis Agatha's. The murdered Agatha. Malicious fiend, it will joy you to know that my lacerated heart bleeds afresh. Revenge shall be henceforth be the devouring and only passion of my soul. I have but one resource. I devote myself either in my life or death to the destruction of the demon. Agatha, William, you shall be avenged.
See yonder, the monster climbs the snow. Look, he climbs.
Then this recount shall terminate his detested life, or mine.
Frankenstein draws his pistol, rushes off at back of stage. The gypsies return at various entrances. At the same time enter Clerval and others with pistols. The demon appears at the base of the mountain, Frankenstein pursuing.
Behold our friend and his mysterious enemy. See, Frankenstein aims his musket at the demon. Hold, Monseigneur le Docteur. If the gun is fired, he will bring down a mountain of snow and kill you both.
Frankenstein discharges his musket. Frankenstein fires again. The avalanche falls and annihilates the demon and Frankenstein. A heavy fall of snow succeeds. Loud thunder heard. And as the sound decays into silence, all the characters form a picture as the curtain falls, a horrific tableau.
Well, bravo, everybody. Excellent performance. On Thunder, we had Peter Flynn.
Bravo!
And as narrator and Agatha, we had Melanie Peter.
Hello, thank you.
And as the beautiful Elizabeth, we had the beautiful Karen Fisher.
Thank you.
And doing the best French accent that being born and raised in France could bring, Frederic Broccard as Clerval.
Magnifique!
And Gabriel Pan was our Dr. Frankenstein. We couldn't have done this without him. And I filled in for a few people who weren't here, doing a few little things here and there.
And the magnificent Scott Paulson.
Oh, please sit down, everybody. Please, you'll get tangled in the cords. There's no reason to stand and applaud like that.
On the harp and not the lute.
Yes, well, there we go.
I'm just waiting for you to go ahead and do one of those wrong.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
I think I did.
That's okay. Yeah, I brought my harp all the way over, and I even tuned it, so we switched it to harp tonight. Well, that was great fun. I really, really enjoyed that. And we'll do some more editing, and we'll take the show on the road, without a doubt. Because we're celebrating the bicentennial of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein by doing this wonderful drama that she did not write, but she did attend. And she loved the character who played Frankenstein. Didn't like the play so much, but she just loved the attention, and it was so wonderful for her to see her success and to know that people were moved by her story and that it would influence other writers for 2 centuries yet to come. How about that? Now, I do have a couple stories that were given to me by Liam Flynn, and I put them back here behind everything. Now, before I read Liam's stories, I want to remind everyone that on Halloween, in the Seuss Room of Guys of the Library at UC San Diego, we're celebrating the bicentennial of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, and I know that Karen Fisher will be there. And we're going to be reading stories that people sent in to us that were 200 words or less. Get it? Bicentennial, 200 words or less. And we've already received some great stories, and I set aside several for the wonderful Karen Fisher to read. She's paid per word, so I have to be careful how much I give her.
I just got that 200 thing just now.
Get it? Yeah. We always do 250 words for our short Tales from Mothership, but this time we shortened it to 200 to go for bicentennial. Thank you. A round of applause for Miss Karen Fisher. Bravo. And, oh, yes, and we still got people in the studio to listen to Liam's story. There's 2 of them. Should I read this one first? So this is probably yet another story in the continuing saga on Planet Sweatpants, I believe. Here's a story by Liam Flynn. Today on Planet Sweatpants, in Sweatpants Universe, it's a continuation of last time, when Troy hid cookies and donuts all over, and his friend Alex found them. We left off on the part where Alex yelled, "Where am I? Why is there cookies in the DVD cases, the DVD player, and in the video game system?" After he was done yelling, Alex then ate all the cookies that were safe to eat. Then the next day, they went to Sweatpants Electronics to meet up with Peter. On the way there, they got a flat tire. Troy then pulled off to the side of the freeway to change the tire. When Troy was playing with the flat tire and the spare tire, Alex yelled at him to stop playing and finish the job. Once they arrived at Sweatpants Electronics, Troy told Peter about their adventure with the flat tire. Once inside, the 3 of them walked around and looked at everything in the store. After browsing the entire store, they went to Sweatpants Co. for lunch, and then to look at everything there. After they went back to Troy's house. Once when they arrived, Peter found a big pile of boxers in the cabinet in the bathroom. Alex then yelled at Troy, "Why is there mold here in this big pile of your underwear hiding? There's this mold here. It's very weird and abnormal." He then made Troy clean it up and disinfect the cabinet. After he was done cleaning, Troy took Alex and Peter upstairs to show them his new Lego creations. When they got upstairs, Alex stepped on some Legos because Troy didn't pick up his Legos after playing with them on the floor. He yelled at him again, "Pick up your farting Legos off the farting floor." Later that day, the 3 of them went to Dohai for dinner. And Troy did the monster mash on food. You know what I mean? He ground food under the carpet. He also made sure to grind plenty of food at a seat as well. Alex then exclaimed, "Hey." Troy then replied, "Hey is for horses." Alex then gave Troy a double noogie. As they were leaving, they saw the cleaning guy saying funny things in Spanish. The mess was so big and bad that the cleaning guy had to take out the carpet and run it through the washing machine after scrubbing it for an hour. Then he power washed the seat that had food ground into it. The end! Exclamation point. And there's one more, and this one's even yet shorter, which is great because then we can start cleaning up all this stuff from the Frankenstein play, the harp, the church bells. Anyway, so here's yet another one from Liam Flynn. Today was a brand new and exciting new adventure on Planet Sweatpants and Sweatpants Universe. Today, all the characters that have ever hid food or did something weird with food all met up at Dohai. All of the characters were wearing sweatpants with talking pockets. When they ordered food, they each ordered triple everything because they wanted to hide plenty of food in Dohai and grind plenty of food into the carpet. When the food arrived, they all started eating and doing the monster mash on some of the food, also known as grinding food in the carpet. After they were done eating, they started hiding food all over the entire Dohai property. The cleaning guy somehow knew it wasn't good when this many people wearing sweatpants showed up. The cleaning guy ended up having to close Dohai for 2 weeks for an extreme cleaning. After they left, they all got in their cars and went to Sweatpants Electronics to mess around there and get flat tires. In Sweatpants Electronics, they ran around, hid more food, and fried a bunch of electronics. After Sweatpants Electronics, they went to the big mall that has the obnoxious speed bumps conveniently placed every 20 feet and drove over all of them. The end! Exclamation point. Thank you for those stories, Liam. Oh, what a wonderful evening this was. Celebrating the bicentennial of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. And apparently this was also a big anniversary for the Sweatpants series of stories. I think it was 1 year. Amazing. Such a rich, rich tradition of storytelling in the Sweatpants universe. Well, it's been a long day, and we did so much today, and I know that I'll see some of you on Halloween for the Mary Shelley Bicentennial celebration, where we're reading things 200 words or less. And is anyone in the studio behind me? Oh, that's good. And maybe I should start flailing my arms around to call the gods of radio to bring in public domain closing music. Good night, everybody. Good night. God bless. Rest well. See you next time. Oh, the MGM lion and the dog from Wizard of Oz is here. Amazing. Good night from Ether Tail Radio Theater. Good night. Here on WSRadio.com. Good night.
Attention coaches, authors, speakers, and business owners. Please pay close attention to what I'm about to say if you want to secure massive visibility fast and generate thousands of highly qualified leads without spending a dime on advertising or marketing. The easiest way to make this happen is to appear as a guest on the world's most popular podcast. We recently came across an awesome resource that provides detailed contact information for 240 new media influencers who are looking for guests just like you. It's called the Ultimate Directory, and for a limited time you can get the preview edition of the directory absolutely free. That's right, for free. It's time for you to get the visibility you and your business deserve and connect with the world's leading icons of influence who can make you famous with the push of a button. Get your free preview edition of the Ultimate Directory right now at www.myultimatedirectory.com. That's myultimatedirectory.com.